before he made the All-American team, people were like, who's Dave? Who is this guy? Blah, blah, blah. And I used to always say, he'll drive you to shoot good.
People made fun of me for keeping my average, but my average drove me.
Yeah.
It drove me, not just for myself, but I shot a 98 in a double, lowered my average. I had a 98.32 average. I mean, there's guys that are a lot higher and all this and that, but I mean, that's, on 12,000 targets, a 95 something average in a handicap. I mean, we shot everywhere.
What are you doing when you're closing a score to slow that moment down? Is it breathing? Is it thinking? Is it being sure? What are the things that you're focusing on?
Listened to a lot of guys that were really good, and they took the deep breath, and you can do that. That works somewhat, but really, you always get that guy on your shoulder that you got to kick him off your shoulder. All this other stuff's coming in, but you just shot. Say your last post, and you just shot 95 birds. You just go back you have to be ready when you call pull and go through the same thing. Get that guy off your shoulder and just focus on the one bird at a time.
Don't forget to follow us on our social media pages. Like, share, and subscribe. This podcast is sponsored by the following: Remington, made with pride in the USA. Iconic American impact. Wenig custom gun stocks. Head on down for your custom fitting. Remember, winners shoot Wenig. Shot Tracker, like having a coach on your barrel. For more info, go to takeaimtech.com. Life is too short to miss. RM Shooting Clinics, helping shooters from coast to coast. Have Ricky take your game to the next level. Zach Nannini at Northwestern Mutual. Trusted advice from someone you know. We believe in putting people first.
Welcome to another episode of Trap Talk. I'm your host, Zach Nannini. I'm here with my co-host, Richard Marshall Jr., and we have the one and only David Kelly from Byron, California. As requested by many listeners, we've been getting text messages, emails, phone calls, hate mail, spam, and everything asking for Dave Kelly. And we finally tied him down. We got him to use his laptop, his technology, and we got him onto the show. Welcome to the show, Dave.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
Rick, would you mind introducing Dave? I know he doesn't really need introduction, but go ahead and tell the people who he is if they don't already know.
Yep. We got David Kelly from California. So he's a 4-time All-American Open Team member, 26-time ATA and PITA state champion. He's got 1,300s from the 27. He's got 8,200s in doubles. And he's got, how many 200s was it, Dave? 15 200s?
15, I think it is.
15 200s in singles. So Dave's been shooting a long time, since 1972. I wasn't even born yet, so he's old, but we love him. So welcome to the show.
So Dave, I'm really glad to have you out here. It's an honor for me to interview you, because when I was a kid growing up, I was a nobody shooter, and you were the hero in California, or one of the heroes. There's a lot of great shooters there, and I always got to watch you shoot, and you were known as the handicap and doubles phenom. I mean, you'd always win handicaps all over the state, up and down, and you were always chasing gold coins. I loved watching it.
Yeah, nothing like gold.
You love gold. So tell the listeners how you got started into trap shooting. What's your family story? When did you start, and when did you start really getting serious with it?
Well, I was 12. My parents both shot. Mom and dad both, and got to shoot a little bit, and I got 200, 300, 400 targets. 73, started shooting a little bit more, not much, maybe 500, but 74, I started getting 14, sub junior, and my dad sold the targets to most of the clubs in Northern California and Reno. Back then, there was a lot more clubs. There's probably at least a half a dozen clubs who closed down. Golden West Grand was in Harold's Club. That was one of the biggest shoots on the West Coast, the shoot. And so that was our dad would kind of groom my brother and I. A brother named Bob, and he came along a little later and won the Golden West Grand Handicap. But we shoot that up into May, and we'd shoot Kingsburg, our state shoot. And then pretty much my dad had to go to work trucking, and we thought that was the end of the year, but hell, that's when the shooting was just getting going. Everybody started shooting July, August, September, the best targets of the year, but we never got to see that. So low key.
So you started young with your parents did it. You got into it. Then you said delivering targets. Dad was a truck driver, and now you're a truck driver. Dave Kelly Trucking. I got my hat on. These are my lucky hats that I get sponsored by Mr. Dave. I don't know if are you still doing them and giving them out, Dave, or are they only for special people?
You've always been special, Zach.
He opened that one up.
I had some for Rick, but it wouldn't fit his head.
I know. I you know what? If you just get some bigger size hats, they would fit my big melon.
Rick, I'm working on that. Next time I see you, you used to come to California and shoot with me, but I don't know.
Well, I am coming out to California here. I think it's outside of Sacramento.
Okay.
In February, there's a youth team that wants me to come out there and do lessons with them. So
where's that?
I'd have to look it up, Dave. It's outside. It's south of Sacramento.
Okay.
I think is what they had said. Yeah. So
I remember you used to come to Martinez shoot with me.
Oh yeah, we shot a lot. Martinez, what was it? The Easter Grand, I think was the first one I came to.
Easter Grand, you averaged 89.5 and took all the gold.
I did. How about that, Zach? 89.5 on 400 handicap, and I won the HOA because Dave averaged 89.
We'll have to have a whole episode on Martinez Gun Club, but if you haven't experienced that place, it's completely different than anywhere you've ever shot in the world. And shooting 90s there in handicap is impressive. I mean, consistently, 400 handicap. I mean, a lot of these things are getting won with 89, 90, 91 average shoots, and they're winning gold and thousands of dollars. I mean, it's kind of crazy.
I remember going there, and I stayed with Dave and Cynthia, and who was it? Me and you, Dave, and was it Jeremy Summers and Sorensen and Jimmy Heller, I think. Wasn't it?
Yeah, there's a whole.
Well, I remember Jimmy shooting with us. He changed stocks on one post. Not change your cone. He changed stocks, and I went,
we did the Jimmy Heller episode, and he changes everything all the time, Dave. He was talking about lenses, wrenches. I mean, he went wild with it. But I know you said you started getting real serious in 74. Were there any people that you were looking up to at the time, or people in California that you kind of wanted to get to the top? Because I've always known you as a fierce competitor. I know you've always wanted to win. When did that turn on, and when did you start getting that competitive drive to start trying to go after everything?
Well, 74, I was still young. I was just trying to beat the juniors, sub-juniors, and win a trophy. But my heroes were Dan Bonillas and Slavich brothers, Bob Gilbertson, Phil Ross. I mean, a lot of great shooters in California when I was growing up. And we even had Bert Robinson come out to Martinez in 74. I remember the state shoot was there, but a lot of good talent. And then I kind of just staggered through and won some junior stuff and learning really. Went from BT99, and I think in 87 I bought a MX3 Perazzi and a combo. And Slavich says when they switched to combos and got away from two guns, they picked up at least 1-2 birds just on picking up different guns, and shooting the same stock and stuff. So, but Bonillas was always my hero and still is, and so I've always just learned to shoot his stock and everything. Then until later in life, and when I got a Wenig stock, but yeah, and then I played a lot of softball all over the United States, and did that. So I was trying to balance shooting and softball through the 80s, and in the 90s, I come back, got too old for playing softball. Was going by me too faster than I could move, so I was a pitcher, but started traveling a little bit and met Rick and the Phoenix.
Yeah, the Phoenix Club.
Phoenix Club. Yeah, we didn't see eye to eye back then, but we made up. We've been best buddies ever since. But
yeah, we have.
And but yeah, and then I think in '97 I started shooting and found out I wasn't that bad a shot and had some goals. everything you do in life, you have goals, softball or shooting or hunting or whatever the heck you get into, and set some goals. I was always shooting good enough to make the state team, but I never did. I never shot enough targets, so I started going to more shoots, and I kind of just blossomed into my better shooting career later on. Chasing money, trying to break 50 straights, all that good stuff, and then trying to make an All-American team. If it wasn't for you two, when I decided, somebody said I was trying to get a show deal, and Ken Sakamoto said, "Hey, Dave, you got to make the All-American team." So I called Rick and called Zach, and they were quite experienced, so they took me under their wing. Florida, San Antonio. Only place I didn't go with Rick is I had to sneak off to New York one time. I didn't.
Oh
win.
yeah, you and Bullard. I remember. You know what? I remember that and I was just thinking when Zach said, "Hey, we're gonna have Dave on." I said, "Yep," and I thought first thing that came to mind was that son of a gun went to freaking New York without me. And Zach, I don't know if you know that story, Zach.
I don't think I do.
They went to shoot the was it the Empire Grand, wasn't it?
Empire Grand.
Yeah, Empire Grand. And I had called Dave like 2 days prior, and he just it was something like I could tell there was something going on, whatever. So I looking at the scores on Shoot Scoreboard, and I see Rich Bullard, Dave Kelly, and I went, oh.
Whoa. Rich Bullard. I mean, it would have been.
Well,
Dave.
you were above him. He was below you. Sorry. I apologize. So.
Hey, let me interrupt.
Sure.
I had to talk Rich's wife into letting him go. That was like, we weren't going. It was a last minute deal. It was at the Golden West Grand, and I said, "Hey, we can do this." And and I know you have to get permission and written.
Oh, whatever. You could have called me. I'd have went. But so I look on there and I see their names, and I'm like, it's 8:00 here in Nebraska, and it's 9 in New York. So I call his cell phone, and he answers like this, "Hello," and I go, "Stupid," and he goes, "It's 6:00 in California." I said, "It's 9 in New York," and they start laughing.
Well, if I remember correctly, Dave, you won the singles that year, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, that first day, Ricky was looking. I was shooting with Schaefer.
Yeah.
And I won the first handicap with 97.
Yeah.
And, guys from California aren't supposed to win in New York, so.
Well, I want to spend a second on that, Dave, because you're a West Coast guy, and like you said, you said you didn't have that All-American experience. You called me and Ricky, and to be honest with you, I was not the caliber of shooter that you were at the time. I knew how the point system worked, and I was making the junior team, but you were completely dominating California, north to south, Oregon, Washington, any local shoot, any ATA shoot, you were crushing. What was the major difference that you seen going from California's target to the Midwest and to the East Coast? Like, were there things that you were having to change when you went from place to place, or did you keep it the same?
There's definitely some changes. It's California. Everybody thinks California throws lollipops, but as you guys know, they're not all lollipops.
Not at Martinez.
And you get into Utah and Idaho or wherever the heck you want to go. They higher altitude target, as we all know, and you make them disappear from 27 yards. But you get to, from the old Vandalia and Sparta and stuff. They threw a nice target. But Florida was different. When we got down to Florida, shooting with you, Rick, and Leo and Tank and all that, and I had I'd hold lower, see them because they were a lower, flatter, quicker, but at least they gave you a good line. And I was lucky enough to break some good scores in Florida. You win handicaps with 94s, 95s. I did break a 200 in the Dixie, but
we broke some good double scores down there.
I remember you were winning doubles almost every day with 99 down there. Didn't you have like 4 or 5 99s in a row?
They were hundreds, Zach. I broke back-to-back hundreds, and they asked Rick, "Who is this guy?" And he quit.
Yeah, I had people coming up there like, who's this guy from California you brought? And I was like, "Oh, stupid, that's Dave Kelly." I said, "Trust me." And I said this for a long time, Zach. I used to always see Dave usually in Tucson, or not, Tucson eventually, but Phoenix in the Grand American, and that was it.
Yeah.
And we'd run each other at the Grand, catch up, have some drinks, blah, blah, blah. And I always used to say, and you could ask Jody, he was the best non-All-American trap shooter out there. Because he couldn't make the team. He was trucking.
Well, and that's the thing, Dave. You had a family, you had a business, you're hunting. I mean, everybody that knows you love to hunt and you love to have fun, and you got friends, and trap shooting's not your whole life. You've got a whole bunch of other things that you do. But when you shot trap, you wanted to win. And I mean, when you went there, it was no joke. You were like, I'm trying to compete. And, there's guys like that. I mean, I think of Jason Fulvag. He's a great shot, and he doesn't make the All-American team always just because he doesn't go everywhere. But when you show up, you were putting the winning scores up. So what were you doing mentally and physically, being as you weren't going all over the road like me and Ricky, and then you were showing up to these shoots and you were kicking everybody's ass? Were you like practicing a lot going into it, or mentally were you thinking about the shoot before, or what were the things that you think really helped you in that stage of your game?
I really think, if you took a week off and went to a big shoot, if you didn't shoot good, because the only place you get points was the satellite grounds, the state shoot, or the championship events. So you could go shoot good in Plymouth, or you don't do nothing on championship events. You wasted a week, and so it was time to shine. I mean, I've been competitive all my life. I mean, and whatever I've done, but and I gotta say, shooting with you guys, Rick took me under his wing, and I shot with him and Leo and Steve Brink and Tank and our squad. Who, if you were high on the squad, you were usually winning. I mean, I remember in San Antonio, we won everything that one year.
We did.
It's like, I've never been so nervous. It's like, Rick, you missed on the first trap, I think, in championship singles, and Leo and I went to the last box, and it was like, you get pretty comfortable. I mean, you're just trying to not miss your turn, and and then Leo missed, and holy moly, I said, oh shit, big shit. But anyway, Big L missed. Don't screw this up. There's only like 700 that day, but anyway, I broke the 200, and it ended up being the lone 200 that year. And but it's just a matter of, we've done it all. There's not a target they've thrown that we haven't broke. And you just stay focused, be ready when you call pull. And I was, some people used to say I was too slow, but I'll tell you, I didn't call pull till I was ready. My eyes were set, the guns, hold the gun still. And in fact, kind of drove Tank nuts. But, that one year he'd had enough of, man. He was whining, but and then he broke his first 100 in handicap. I'm still waiting for him to, hey Dave, thanks for, he almost broke 2 that year. In the championship, another 99. But Tank was always fun. The whole squad was fun. So it was and it was just a good time, just trying to stay focused and one shot at a time, basically.
Hello, Trap Talk listeners. Zach Nannini here, and I'd like to thank our show sponsor, Remington. And today, I would like to go into what shells I use when I'm training and when I'm shooting tournaments. First of all, we start with the Gun Club. This is a great shell. I shoot an 1145 ounce and 1/8, and this is what I shoot for singles and both shots of doubles. The only reason I don't shoot this in tournaments is because I like a little bit of a harder shot, a little bit of a harder break, but it works great, and it's the same speed as this STS shell. So this STS shell, a little bit harder shot, figure 8 wad column, smokes the targets a little bit harder. Also, I shoot for singles and doubles, both shots. And then when I go to the back fence and I want to put the smoke on them, I bring out the Nitro 27 ounce and 1/8, 7.5. It's a 1235 shell, blast the targets, works really well. I hope these shells work for you, and I want to thank Remington for supporting Trap Talk.
Yeah, well, and that's part of it. I remember when we were in Florida shooting, and I used to shoot towards the end there, speed up, and someone told me, "Hey, dummy, slow down."
Well,
I think that was you.
You missed a few 98th, 99th, or 100th, and our adrenaline's going. And, we want to get it done, and then we don't think we miss it. And we've all been there, and it's like, if you just slow the moment down, be ready. It's a lot clearer, and bam, you work your way through. You got a little spasm there for a little bit, but you seem to have straightened out, Rick. Same as that.
So let's spend some time on that, slowing the moment down, because a lot of listeners probably don't even know what that means.
No.
If you're going to explain that, Dave, and for me, as I start shooting bigger scores, I start winding up, getting more stressed, more tense, and wanting to go faster. What are you doing when you're closing a score to slow that moment down? Is it breathing? Is it thinking? Is it being sure? What are the things that you're focusing on?
Well, I've in baseball, I was a diehard A's fan, but listened to a lot of guys that were really good, and they took the deep breaths, and you can do that. That works somewhat, but really, you always get that guy on your shoulder that you got to kick him off your shoulder. All this other stuff's coming in, but you just shot. Say your last post, and you just shot 95 birds. You just go back you have to be ready when you call pull and go through the same thing. Get that guy off your shoulder and just focus on the one bird at a time. I mean, that's what, there's a lot of other things that come in. I mean, I think Ricky was shooting with us, and Bill Martin, Petey, and I, and Jeff
Wagner.
Jeff Wagner, remember?
Yep.
He went from 5 to 1. He had 5 shots that never broke 100 straight before. And man, we were all pulling for him, and one slipped away on the last post. But I don't know if it was Ricky or Bill. Somebody tried to break the ice with him and said, "Don't screw this up." So.
That was Bill.
Yeah, and that's a constant Bill. I mean, I think he's told everyone don't screw this up when they go into the last 5 shots on a handicap. Some people do, some people don't. I mean, it is what it is.
He told me that when I was 395 straight the all around.
Oh my God.
Don't F this up. And I was like, I got 395 in the bag.
But it's got to be a positive. I feel you got to be a positive. And they say you don't count, right? But I'd get to 95. I'd say, damn, I'm 95 straight. Let's see what happens. 96,
right.
97. Good score. You got 3 more shots. 98. Damn. You get 99, and then 100. Don't screw this up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's powerful. What I want the listeners to know is when you say slow down, I think it's mentally, you're not shooting the target slower. You're not being more precise. You're not aiming. No. You're just taking your time to make sure that you're ready when you call pull. Correct, Dave?
The moment is going so fast. You put the gun up, your eyes are set, the gun is set. Am I ready? Boom, I'm ready. You're mentally, I'm ready. Pull, throw it. Boom. I mean, I'm shooting a lot of birds now, and it doesn't have to be a monster bird. It can be a pop-up. So it's the same philosophy. You don't have to miss. I used to lay in bed. I'd break a 98 the day before, and I'd lay in bed and laying there waiting to go out the next day and think, man, if I would have only done this or only done that, I would have broke 100. And it's just a matter of cleaning that up. That one bird there, and pretty soon it's done, and then you enjoy it.
Yeah, no, you're right. And that's part of it, visualizing it, like you just said, laying in bed. I remember as a kid, and Frank Hoppy told me one time, he said, listen, tonight, I want you to break 100 straight before you go to sleep. And I was like, okay. And it was kind of like, and then I got to where I would lay there and just picture breaking targets. And then the next day, go out and you're breaking targets and you're like, this is kind of, but you're ready, and that's, going back to, like I said, when we were in Florida that time, and I was missing the last target, the next to last target for good scores. I'd be on a 9, shoot one out for an 8, be on I don't remember being straight and missing one on the last post. I know I've done it a few times, but
it's to be happy after you break a 98 and you miss the last damn bird.
I know. Well, and it's one of those, but like you said, when you're counting, and I've done that, being 95 straight, getting there, I'm like, all right, but I was always this way. I'm like, if you're going to F this up, do it on the 4th post, not on the last post, finish strong. And I get that last post, you break, you're 98 and you're like, 98's a good score. Well, let's try to finish this up a little bit, dial it back in and go. But it is a lot of for our listeners out there, a lot of people, they get down to the end and they start going faster, calling quicker, doing stuff like that. And Zach, that was one of the things you used to do a lot, shooting doubles when we were shooting together. he'd be straight and doubles. He'd get over to post one and he'd go, pull, bang, bang. And I'm like, and I look down and he'd be down there just, and I'm like, oh Lord. And then about the third pair, pull, bang, bang, dead lost. And he'd go, ugh. Yeah. And I'm like, we get down. I'm like, Zach.
It's the wind
up. And he goes,
For anybody doing it, if you're feeling that wind up, it's almost like you're building pressure until you release the pressure one way or the other. And if you don't know how to manage that, you're going to end up shitting all over yourself, in Dave Kelly's words, right? You gotta manage that internally.
There's another thing too, is if you think about it, you don't have to miss. People talk themselves into missing. Oh, I'm 20 straight, I'm 21, 22 straight. I haven't missed yet. I'm 50 straight, 49 straight. You don't have to miss. You don't have to miss. It's just but people accept it. And I don't know, I was always pretty bullheaded. When I was a kid, my dad always said that people asked about my brother and I, because we're only 11 months apart. And I was more competitor. I'd take my brother and he'd always win. And everybody knew us, and they'd say, Dave's a tougher competitor. Bob's a better shot. To this day, Bob's a better shot, but Dave's a tougher competitor. And I don't know, my brother's pretty tough, but.
Oh yeah, I know Bob.
That's
Stu Welton's nemesis.
You were a tough competitor. You still are. And the reality is you were playing liar's dice at the bar. You wanted to win. You were betting on A's games. You wanted to win. You were shooting. You wanted to win. I mean, I remember growing up around you, and everybody that would walk up to you, if they said something wrong, you were putting a bet on the line and saying $100. And they were like, they didn't want any piece of it because you were getting it at all levels. I mean, it was crazy to watch.
He is a competitor.
But you were confident with it. You didn't lay down. You didn't care.
That's just the way I am. I don't
know. That's why you're loved and you have so few enemies.
Yeah, no, I've met so many great people doing this and all over the United States, man. It's been what a ride. I kind of backed away and shooting a few more birds, and I started realizing, how long do I have to do this? I mean, I was fourth that first year, Rick. Leo and you and me, and it was like, that was pretty good. And then I want to show people it wasn't a fluke. Then I was seventh, then I was eighth, and I was kind of fading away. I could feel myself that it wasn't that important. Then Proudest gave me a new combo, that short rib. Oh, you can't shoot that. Everybody told me you can't shoot that. I said, oh, okay. So then I made it again with that. And then it was like, but it's been a heck of a ride. I mean, I'm starting to get back into shooting again now. And I miss you guys. I keep saying I'm going to come to the Grand, but pretty expensive when you got bullets and stuff,
Oh yeah, well, I know. I know you're real hard up over there in Byron, California.
Yeah, listen. We can get you some shells. I'm sure between Zach and I, we'll loan you some bullets.
I'm not begging for. I don't know. That's the thing I was saying. Man, I'm a working schmuck. These guys all make it. They're shooting. But no, the guys that Rev into was fantastic. Me, Devin Harris and Mike Jordan, Shane Naylor. All the and what a ride. I mean, what a ride. You and I went to Hawaii with Bill. Bill took us to Hawaii.
Yeah. 2007. We were in Maui for Jay Lee's wedding, and that was a fun trip on the flight over. And
I mean, where else you gonna? That was what, 17 years ago already, 16 years ago, and
17, yeah.
But watching Zach grow up, he's wearing his army boots and his shorts and his high socks, and oh man,
couldn't count to 7.
I was paying attention though. I was listening to you guys. I said, hey, I got to fix this. I got to figure this out.
You did, buddy. I'm so proud of you. You got your career going now, and shooting up a storm, babysitting Rich Bullard. My hat off.
Hey, we have a lot of fun, and we do miss you on the road for sure. We've spoke a lot about stories and kind of all these things. We haven't gotten into your technical game, Dave. And what I really want to know a little bit about is, you know, how are you doing it? Because me and Ricky, we're on the house, we're attacking the target. But when you were at the prime of your game, were you on the house? Were you above the house? I know you said earlier, hold still, but if you could walk people through how you shot and what you were trying to do, I think that would be very helpful.
Yeah. Well, I watched Dan Benitez all my life, and the older Dan got, the higher he held a gun. And I couldn't hold as high as him, but I would look at the target, and I know what my move was, say a foot over the house or 6 inches or whatever. I knew what my move was to get to that target. And Sean Hawley gave me a compliment, and he says, you have a handicap move, you don't have a singles move. And I always knew that. I mean, oh, it was it's the truth. I mean, I a little short, and I just remember that the less movement, the less room for error, and kept everything compact, head on the gun still. You see the bird, you shoot it, and I think I shoot a 60-40, 70-30 gun. It's a flat shooting gun. It's Proudest MX3, and then try to get my head up, and that's just not me. Everybody's not the same. That's what I tell people. They got to shoot the way you want to shoot. You're not going to be Ricky Martin. You're not going to be Dave Kelly. You're not going to be anybody. You have to do what works for you. And so it was always a shorter move. And then I was giving too many single birds away. And Bullard say, how can you miss some things? They're right there. I'm saying, how do you miss handicap, Rich? But so singles, and I started, he badgered me. I was always, hey, if I had a 98 average, woohoo, I was doing pretty good. But one time I got a 90 average, but then I went on that 1 year, I won the Southwestern, the Empire Grand, my state shoot, and I started winning all the singles, and of course the all-arounds and the overalls came, they were all better for, you couldn't give them away to get All-American points, and so that the points really drove me, whether it was money, points. If you shot good, it all came together.
Yep.
Yeah.
So in the handicap, you were holding up high. You were looking for the target. The target, would it break your barrel, or would you kill it underneath your barrel, like trapping the bird?
Everybody made fun of my hold, the way I got into a gun, and they said I had my leg over the top of the stock and everything else, but really I just, there you go, Rick. And I was into it, but I held the gun. You hold the gun still, you call pull, you see around the barrel. And It's just, there's not a bird we haven't hit. You might have to come down on the ends. I had an old timer years and years ago. If you ever have trouble, you go down and in on the house. And so it worked for me. I shot unorthodox, compared to everybody else, but
you shot your style.
But you did it the same every time. And I mean, there was little things that I took away from you. You always used to tell me, if I'm having a bad day, I'm breaking low on the target, I'll lower my gun on my shoulder, I'll make it shoot a little higher. You were looking at your breaks. You were adjusting hold points based on the targets day to day. And once you got center break, you were just locking into that spot and blowing up a score. I mean, you weren't changing if it was working.
With a Wilkinson choke, there's no reason you can't just blow up a target. So you have to see where your breaks are. If you got to get on top of the target, you know how many people I've told about a shot string. And I said, when you see everybody missing and they're hitting the bottom of the target, they're hitting the bottom of the target with the front of the shot string. Why not hit the top of the target with the end of the shot string? So if you're going to miss over it. And then when you really get it focused in, you just grind the target up like you guys do. It's just, and I shot a light eighth for singles and doubles, and a 3-drammer, a Nitro for handicap, and that was it. My gun loved it, and it just worked for me. And so it all came together for 4, 5, 6 years. And I mean, I shot some good scores, but I mean, these guys that are doing it and just keep going and going. And look at Pat Lamont. 2 times I was runner up to him at the Grand American and all around at 397. He had 398 and 399. It's like, okay. But look at it. He's a stud.
How does that even feel? Because I've never been there, to break a 397 2 years and lose to Pat with 398 and 399. I mean, you obviously had to think when you got done with the 397, you were close, right? Like you had to be thinking, hey, I got a shot at the ring, right? Like what was going through your mind?
Yeah, I mean, I had I did the best I could. I mean, that's all I had. You know, you look for one bird here, one bird there, but I mean, when a guy's breaking a 399, I mean, Ricky and I watched Leo break a 399 in Florida one year. I mean, you just take your hat
Yes,
off.
we did.
But
It's a whole nother level. I mean, I would say that the 397 is in a whole nother level, but I mean, you're talking 99 plus average, but to get to that next level above that, it's ungodly. I mean, it's just crazy. And to understand how far away 397 to 399 is, it's like people talk about a 99 and handicap from the 27 and 100 from the 27. There's a whole lot of room in between those two targets. There's a lot of distance.
There is.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? It's easier when you miss one. I don't know how many 99 the 99s. It's like when you miss one, it's like, okay, well, you keep fighting and you punch it through, but it's nothing like 100. So it's, you guys both been there and I've been there, and it's like, you know, you learn to live with it. I remember shooting 95. I was lowering my average for 3-4 years. I had 95 plus average and almost never hit the 96. But people say, "Why are you so pissed off?" I said, "I just lowered my average." I mean, and people made fun of me for keeping my average, but my average drove me.
Yeah.
It drove me, just for myself. But I shot a 98 in a double, lowered my average. I had a 98.32 average. I mean, there's guys that are a lot higher and all this and that, but I mean, that's, you know, on 12,000 targets, a 95 something average in the handicap. I mean, you know, we shot everywhere.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's Florida, that's New York, that's Missouri, that's California, that's all over in all conditions. And you were shooting every month of the year. You weren't just shooting here and there. You were all over.
I was just chasing points.
We call that we call that a point whore, Dave.
I didn't want to say that.
That's what Zach is right now, Dave. That's what Zach's that guy that goes to the shoot on Sunday to shoot Monday, Tuesday for the overall starts.
Hey, I get everything I can. These guys are too good for me not to take advantage of every opportunity I can get, Dave.
Oh, whatever.
We climb in and get what we can get. You taught me that.
You know, it's funny, Dave. You talk about the scores and, you know, being runner up to Pat, you know, I mean, 397 is a hell of a score in the all around, you know, and I remember, you know, you talk about that. You broke 397, he broke 398 or 399. And that year at Vernal, when I broke the 400, you know, Matt Bartholow standing next to me breaks 399. That's what drove me. And I said it to a lot of people. A lot of people thought I was kind of crazy for saying it, but I said, if he wouldn't have been on there breaking 399, I mean, I was grinding. I was like, because I just got in losing the all-around shoot off to Lauren Mueller at the Grand that year. And I was like, I'm not losing another all-around.
Yeah.
So then, you know, the best part was we're standing there getting ready to shoot off the doubles, and Stu Walton broke 398. And he goes, break 398, don't even win. And he started complaining. And Matt, you know, he's the man of many words. You know, not very many. Matt goes, guess you should have shot better.
But
Dave, you'd have loved Stu's face.
Hey, but you just said a good one, Rick, because shooting with good squads with yourself.
Yep.
And I've shot with Stu. I've shot with Mike Grady, Heller.
Yeah.
California was Benias, Heller, Panoli, and myself. And good shots, you know, when we're all in our prime, you know. And if you beat Heller and Benias, or they, like, how many times you broke 100 and they had 99, you know?
Yeah.
I did. And they say, oh, damn, I was waiting for you to miss. Well, I didn't want to miss.
No, you're right. And that's right. You know, you look at our grand squad, like now, Zach, our prelim squad is me, Zach, Bullard. This year, Shea Skaggs shot with us, and Justin Debris. And I've said it back when we used to shoot together, Dave, you know, and you said it earlier, right at the start of the podcast. If you're high on the squad, you usually won the event. And I remember multiple times, like I said, when we were shooting Leo, dude, whoever was high in our squad won the event. That one year at the Great Lakes Grand, there's a picture, and I've got it somewhere. Me and Leo on the cover of Trap Field, stand at the flagpole. I was wearing my yellow Nike shirt that I always wore on Sundays. And Tank Lundstrom tried to buy that from me one time because I broke a lot of hundreds in it. But, it was just him and I. We won everything but like one event. And people were like, how did you do that? And I'm like, well, I'm competitive and so's Leo. And it was like, hey, you break your targets, you're going to break a good score. Oh, damn, look, you just won the event.
I mean, what a blessing. I mean, you got to shoot with Randy Ross and
Oh, yeah.
Leo and all those guys. And I was lucky enough you brought me into your world and and brought me in on the squads and stuff. And but those years with Leo was just unbelievable, Well,
we had a lot of fun.
Yeah. And so I don't know, man. What a ride it's been. I just turned 64, so still pretty good. But
so you retiring, collecting your pension yet, or what?
hey, I just got my second Social Security.
Oh, baby, you wrong.
Oh no! I hope you buy. Look at that. That's that. Yeah, that's that gray hair.
Oh, gray.
Hello, Trap Talk listeners. Today's episode is brought to you by Wenig Custom Gun Stocks.
That being said, a custom gun stock is going to elevate your game to get the same fit every single time.
And I can attest to that. I broke hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hundreds with my Wenig Custom Gun Stock.
I haven't broke hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, Rick, but I did break 100 from the 27 within 7 days of getting my stock and broke 2 more that year and loved it.
Here, this is okay.
Did you take it or me?
We'd like to thank Wenig Custom Gun Stocks for supporting Trap Talk.
That being said, everyone knows.
Winners shoot Wenig.
Are we doing the import?
So are you going to continue to be an A's fan when they move to Vegas or what?
I quit them 2 years ago.
Did you?
Yeah, they just they went nuts. In fact, I don't know. I know we're talking trap shooting, but
that's okay.
The guy that just retired, and he ripped the owner this last weekend. He ripped him, called him some bad words, and said because his parents started Gap. They were the founders of Gap, and they handed him this money. And John Fisher, I think John Fisher, but this guy ripped into him, said, "You spoil little brat," and so it was pretty cool. But no, I'm a sports fan, but hunting, trap shooting, little
birds, everything. Now, are you going to come to the Autumn Grand?
No, sir. My son's getting married on the 11th, so.
Well, good for you.
Yeah, I will be at the wedding.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
So, Dave, if you were to look back and think of like your biggest accolade, I mean, was it making the PIT Hall of Fame? Was it, winning the 5 crown in California with the other Hall of Famers? Or, I mean, what would you say, your thing that you're most proud of at this point is?
Good question, Zach. The Hall of Fame, they when PIT was really big on the West Coast, as you know, and with Orlick and Beneas and all those. So I shot really good for a while here, and I won the high overall 6 years in a row. And I look back in the books, nobody ever done that. So that was one. But winning the 5, I went in on California Hall of Fame in 2012, and Bullard did my induction, and he challenged me to win. I'd won the handicap, everything but the doubles, and I think I lost it to you one year, maybe 10 or 12, and I missed one, and we both broke hunters, but he challenged me to win the doubles, and in 14 I won the doubles. I had to beat Heller to get it, and that was the 5th. And when I grew up in South California, it was tough, man. I mean, 150 squads and go win that day, that event, and so I finally got them all, and that was one, with Sean, and Sean was great, Dan and Heller and Alcariza. I mean, Alcariza, man.
Well, yeah. I mean, think about this. In doubles in California at the time, you had Jimmy Heller, Ron Alcariza, Dave Alcariza. You had Gary Benetti. You had Beneas, Sean. I mean, you had a whole
and you had
team.
David
Jeff
Zanotti.
Is it Dave Zanotti, Jeff Holguin? I mean, there's a bunch of other names that I'm forgetting that were doubles machines. I mean, that was a very difficult trophy to win at the time. And, you know, what Dave didn't tell about the story in the shoot off about me winning the doubles is I had broke 100 in the handicap the day before. Was it the day of or the day before, Dave?
The day before.
Day before. So I break 100 from the 27th handicap. This is 7 days after I break my first 100 at Vernal. Stu Welton beats me in a shoot off. I don't win anything in that. I go out and I break another 100 and I say, hey, Dave, you know, I get to win a handicap. He says, screw you. And we go out there and he stuffs a 25 up me and lose. Then the next day, I get the opportunity to shoot off against the doubles with him. I mean, was there anyone else or was it just me and you, Dave?
There was one other guy, but he didn't count. It was just me and you.
I don't remember who the other guy was, but all I remember is when I seen you miss, I just thought to myself, he is not going to miss again. So if you let him in, it's game over. So, you know, but I was there when you won in 14. And I mean, I was so happy for you because, I mean, a lot of people don't know what that means to win each of the titles. I mean, that was always a goal of mine in California. And then I moved residency and now it's my goal in Missouri. But there's very few people that have the ability to win singles, doubles, handicap, overall, and all around and do it in a lifetime. And if you know, the names, if I remember correctly, we've got Ron Alcariza, we've got Jimmy Heller, we've got Dan Benitez,
Sean Hawley,
and then you, Dave. I mean, and every one of those people other than you is ATA Hall of Famer. And, you know, I know you're not in there now, but I mean, you've got the accolades that you could probably go in one day. So, I mean, it's one of those things where, you know, you're definitely deserving and, you know, you've been around and inspired people and brought people up. And one thing I can say about you is you always were there to help. And when I broke my first 100 from the 27, I had shot an 88 from the 27 the day before. And I said, Dave, I mean, I need gas money. I can't even make it home from Vernal. I got all this money on the handicap on Sunday and I'm the brokest I've ever been. I need to hit at least a perfect 50 to get me some money. He's like, come on over to the practice trap. And he's like, Zach, you get your head up and hold still. And he's like, you're down in this thing and you're moving on the call. And he says, get your head up and hold still, and worked with me for 75 rounds. This is before a major Calcutta event with $200,000 in it, where he should be thinking about himself. I mean, the day before he went in the Calcutta for like $15,000. I mean, he's not thinking about that. He's helping me. And that's something that always stuck with me, is your focus was always making everyone better around you. And then you wanted to beat them, but by raising their ability, you pushed that much harder.
Hey,
oh yeah, that's how Dave's always been, you know.
The thing about it though, you know, you help people and it makes you shoot better. So, I mean, when you go out on your squad, you don't want them other four guys to beat you. So, and you know exactly where they're at all the time. And they just push you. You know, that's another thing Sean said to me. You know, I listen to Sean. Sean's a great shooter and a great, you know, Hall of Famer. And he said, because I was shot with Benitez and Heller, and I was always in the shadows. But he said, "Can you be a leader? You know, can you be a leader? Can you do it on your own?" So, and I did that too. So it wasn't bad. I'd be on the squad, and everybody's chasing me. So I mean, it sounds like I'm patting myself on the back, but I guess that's what we're here for. But
well, I mean, we're here to tell the truth, Dave. I mean, you're not you're not a very braggadocious guy, and I've known you, and people know that about you. And the fact of the matter is you did things that a lot of people haven't done, and that's really, really cool. And you help people along the way. You know, before we get out of here, is there any other stories or any other advice or any other things that you'd like? I mean, maybe poke fun at Ricky or something. I mean, is there anything else you got?
Well, poke fun at me. There's a few different things, if you don't mind. I mean, I'm Florida, and it might have been the day I broke the 200 in the Dixie. I don't know. We shot a few times down there, but we're going along. I always shot post 5. We're going along, and Ricky, I think it was our second box, and Ricky happened to miss one, and I'm just watching them, you know, and I got my peripheral going and watching the birds and everything. God damn. Ricky shoots, he misses, it goes down to and Leo, and it comes back around, and I'm like, holy crap. But I asked Rick, man, you shooting a Krieghoff? Yeah, you shooting a Krieghoff back then. And I never seen that Krieghoff eject forward. So he missed his 50th bird, and he slapped the shell out in front of me. But, you know, I didn't pay no attention to him. I'm used to him. But I've stuck up for him and Bullard so much through my years. And but we get back to the hotel that night. We're on the computer, you know, we're looking at
the Marriott. We were at the Marriott Residence Inn.
And he said, man, I had 99,950. I said, Rick, you missed your 100,000 singles target.
I did.
And it did.
That shoot with Dave.
So he had the first forward ejecting Krieghoff, and he missed his 100,000.
It's what happened, Zach. Hey, I missed that last target, and I ejected that shell, and I went to catch it, and I went, huh, and I hit it, and it went, shoom, and I went, oh, well, there's 3 other shooters before Dave, you know. And I looked over, and I remember Dave, like, he's hunched up, getting ready, you know, and he looks at that shell, and then just looks ahead, and I thought, yeah, whatever, you know. But that night, he did. He made fun of me, and I was like, damn. But then what was it, like a month, or was it a month later or 2 months later, I broke my 100,000th handicap, and I called him. I said, hey, I shot my 100,000th handicap, and I hit that son of a gun. But I will say,
you were never shy to pick on people. You picked,
no.
I mean, if you know, people look at Ricky Marshall, and you know, they don't pick on Ricky Marshall because he's Ricky Marshall. You know, he's kind of big and a big deal. You know, but you know, you didn't care if it was Ricky Marshall or whoever it was. You'd come up and you'd crack him with something, and it would just be how it was.
You're gonna have thick skin, Zach. You know that. You know, with Wade Stanfield and all these guys around here, I mean, it's bad. Hey, one thing before we go is like, all right, you guys are shooting with Bullard all over the country. Do you think he's ever going to win a satellite grand championship?
You know, why you throw our boy into the bus like that?
I will say, Dave, I try to lead him to victory. Sometimes as he said, sometimes the mustard slips off the hot dog.
Hey, what about when we were in Phoenix and you missed on the 100th or 75th or whatever it was, and he was still in? He says, hey, Rick, let me use those shells. You don't need them. Oh, I was like, holy Christ, here I am protecting him again.
Yeah.
So for the listeners that don't know Rich, we love Rich. He's our best friend, but he used to rub a few people the wrong way. And when he came in, you could say that he was rather confident in his abilities in trap shooting. And, you know, Ricky Marshall, being one of the best in the world, misses a target in the shoot-off. He's out. Rich is still in. He's like, hey, I need those shells. Can I borrow them? You don't need them. I mean, that's cool.
Hey, that's when I first met him. And then he called me and apologized later on. And Dave told him, don't call him. Don't call him. So I told him, I said, really? You're that guy that talks smack and then apologizes later, you know? And he's like, oh, Dave told me you were going to say that, you know. But I will say one thing about Dave, and you know, I've shot a lot of targets with Dave over the years. And back in the day, you know, he was one of those guys that, you know, before he made the All-American team, people were like, you know, who's Dave? You know, who is this guy? Blah, blah, blah. And I used to always say, he'll drive you to shoot good. You know, and there's some other good, I mean, even better shooters we shot with that wasn't the guy that pushed you, where Dave did. And I remember shooting a lot of targets, and that's, you know, I'm a better shooter because of it. Dave helped me. And, you know, of course, he's 64, so, you know, he's a little older than we are, Zach. But, you know, he would always, you know, say, hey, you know, just slow down or do this or do that. And that's one of those things that you don't have to be the best shooter in the world to help someone, you know. But when you're competitive, and a lot of people don't understand that, and I've heard this for years, you know, is why would you help someone that you're shooting against? I'm like, well, you know what? At the end of the day, they still got to break the targets. I mean, but we're all there for one thing, Richard, have a good time and win.
Well, that's the thing I remember the most was the fun times, Dave. I mean, we used to have those spaghetti cookouts in the hole at Kingsburg, and there was always time at the beer tent. But, you know, I will say this, there's a new generation of trap shooter out there that's going out to hit the target and they're in bed by 9 o'clock every night and they're not doing anything, right? Like they're out there and they're just focused on breaking a clay. And I'll say it's working because there's averages are showing it. But like with you, you ran harder than any trap shooter I ever met in my whole life. I mean, every night we would go and it would be the beer tent, the bar at Sparta. I mean, you would not only run 297 to 299 on the day, but then you would clear everybody out till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And that was a next level of education for me. Going to college, I was already prepared because of the Dave Kelly school.
You still weren't prepared, Zach, with what I mean, I remember going to Martinez. I think I came out to teach, and then what was it? Was that the Easter Grand, that first one? I think, and that's when I met Dave's good buddy, Jeremy Newberry, who was the center for the Niners. And I mean, this dude made me look tiny. And, you know, I was like, damn. So I had to teach the next day though. And he's like, oh, you like to drink? Well, sure. And I'm not going to back down. Dude, I was hiding Coors Lights all over this bowling alley bar we were at. And he went around and found every one of them, Zach. Brought them back, set them in front of me, and I'm like, I tap. I could. I'm like, but we did that. And then when we shot the shoot, we would shoot. And I remember a few nights, Cynthia chewing our butts out. We got back. You guys are drinking. Oh, no, we had someone drive us back, you know. And it was, you know, we have a good time.
We ran and we ran hard.
Oh, yes, we did.
It was, I learned, you get done with the shoot, you'd start eating and drinking, and then you'd start playing dice and gambling and just tearing these guys down. And the problem is these guys would not stop shit talking. They would just go. And the longer they went, the more you ate into it. And it went from $5 cups to $20 cups to $100 cups. And that's when people would start getting hurt. And
hey, I will say this. So for all the listeners out there, so anytime if I'm talking smack, you could just blame it on Dave Kelly because he taught me. I'm just saying.
But people respected you for that, Dave, because you know you were respectful to people, but you weren't going to back down either. You were you know, you knew who you were and you knew what you could do, and you were always betting on yourself. And I think that's one of the biggest takeaways that I took that I've tried to integrate into my life is you have to be confident and you have to believe in your abilities to get to the next level. Otherwise, if you already know people are going to beat you, I mean, you're kind of dead on the front end.
Yeah.
It's been, like I said, it's been one hell of a ride, man. And, you know, you guys got the way you're shooting now, I think you're probably shooting the best you've ever shot, both you guys. And I've watched Rich switch guns and Zach switch guns and switch shells, and you just keep on going, man. I take my hat off to both you guys. And
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I'm dead ass serious. And but you know, we got more ahead of us.
Yes, we do.
We want to see you coming back to trap shooting.
Exactly.
The problem is we go to the Grand, and the first 3 days are me and Rick just talking about where's Dave Kelly, because everyone's asking us, where's Dave Kelly? When's he coming to the shoot? We need Dave Kelly. And I'm like, oh, he's busy. A truck's coming into Oakland. He's got the ship. And all
he's married now. Cynthia's got him tied up in the closet. She won't let him out.
Oh, she'll let you out. But I'm telling you, you are missed at the trap clubs. People want to see you get back into it. I know you've got other things going on right now and you're staying busy and you're having fun. And people don't realize how big of an avid hunter you are, but you go all over hunting. And I know you have just as much fun doing that as you did trap.
Yeah. But you try and do it all. I mean, I always told Jay Newberry that something happens to me, hey, I've already done it. You know, 64 more than most 80-year-olds. I mean, run hard. And you know, just the people. Before I go, I want to say what a big loss we had with Austin Scroggins. And you know, I spent a lot of time with that kid and his brother Garrett and Chris, and that was just devastating, you know, and good family. good family. So Steve Brink, everybody. So, but yeah, he's always on my mind.
Everyone's on our mind, and it's hard to lose someone that was great like that, and good people. And unfortunately, as time goes by, we lose more of our friends, and
Yeah.
it's just hard. I mean, it's hard when we lost Leo. It's hard when we lost Austin. It's hard when we lose everyone, because this is a big family, and I think if you ask others, or at least if you're asking me, what the biggest part of the trap shooting thing is, it's just getting together with your family. And I always felt at home when I was at the gun club with you guys, and you always made me feel so, loved and welcomed. And that was something that not a lot of places have. And I think we need to get back to that a little bit more. We need to, do more things as a community and do more things that are fun together, because I feel like sometimes in the sport lately, we've all kind of been breaking off and doing our own things. Go out and shoot, and then everybody's gone, and the bars are kind of a little bit more empty, and the areas are a little less frequented. And I think it's just because some people are getting a little older, but it's that's the tradition of it, is the time with the people at the shoot.
Yep, it's us. We go to the bar. We were the
party.
We're the entertainment. We're everything, and there's a couple of, like I go to the Grand. I always remember hanging out with the New York bunch, whether the Homer and Jerry Ostander and Vendel, Chris Vendel, and I'm seeing
Herb Wilmer.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like we don't see each other, but once a year, and it's like we picked up from yesterday, and that's what the trap shooting world is, like Steve Carmichael. I know you guys had him on he used to come to California and shoot with us, and and so it's just it's fantastic. It's unbelievable.
I'll see Steve here this weekend. I'm heading out to Vegas for the Nevada State Shoot, pulling my fifth wheel out there and shooting with Bullard. And I think Jerry Williams, and I think Smitty was supposed to shoot, but I think Bullard said he backed out or something.
Smitty backs out sometimes.
Wherever Heller goes, Smitty's got to go. And hey, but you know what? Maybe you might see some Jerry Williams break his third hunter trading doubles. I got to witness his second. I think I owe him $20. I was talking.
Do you want me to pay him for you?
I can owe him. 50 says I'm.
Is there any other stories or any other jabs you want to get in before we get out of here tonight?
I could go on and on.
I know we could. You know what? We could have a Dave Kelly episode 1 through 100.
Listen,
and they'd
Dave,
all be entertaining.
This is the deal. If you're open to it, we would love to have you back on the show again and just talk stories and talk whatever. We can go down memory lane, however you want to go. I mean, you've got so much to give, whether it's the history of the sport, whether it's talent, ability, how to win. But, there's just not enough time tonight to go over all of it. So we're going to have to get out of here. But we'd love to have you on again.
All right. You got it, guys. I appreciate you having me on. How long have we been on anyway?
Well, it's like more than an hour, which is probably our longest episode ever. So, that's okay though. If they run like this, people love them. So Dave, is there anyone you'd like to thank? Any sponsors or things or people?
Oh, many. Bill Daniels, Don Budd, Bobby and Luke Chambers. It goes on, and Dan Bonilla, Rob Taylor. It goes on and on and on. I got everybody. I met so many good people, and Craig Hart, Petey, Bill.
Yep.
goes. The memories, we'll talk about that another time, but remember Jerry Williams shooting a 94 or something in Maui.
He did. Yeah.
We left all our money, our options, our shells, everything. Oh,
yep.
Rick, you had 97.
I did. I was high.
Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah. Good times, buddy.
Well, Dave, we were going to get out of here tonight. We want to thank our show sponsors, Remington, Wenig Stockworks, Shot Tracker, RM Junior Shooting Clinics. If you need some help shooting a shotgun, Ricky's pretty good. And if you need a financial guy, Zach Danini at Northwestern Mutual here to help you out. Also, I got to give a shout out to Dave Kelly Trucking out of Byron, California. I'm wearing the hat, So today, for today's episode, this was a Dave Kelly sponsored episode because you got to give love where I'm getting free hats. So we appreciate you coming in. We can't wait to see you at the next shoot, and we definitely miss the hell out of you.
Yes,
Love
we
you.
do.
Love you guys.
Love
Be
you
good.
too, brother.
Be safe, Dave.
You good.
Thanks for tuning in to Trap Talk.